I want to deliver a powerhouse presentation for you all today. I felt like my ancestors were definitely guiding me in the right direction with the words that I wanted to bring. So, if you've seen me perform before, you know that you all are going to join me in this. Are y'all all right with that? All right. I see some new faces. You cool? Yeah, you cool? All right, we family. All right. When I say, Amana, you say, Awetu. Awetu, okay? We're going to try it. Amana. Awetu. Ooh, that's all right. So I want you to keep that in mind throughout this poem. We're going to do it again a little later on. Don't forget. Amana. Awetu. Amana. Awetu. Amana. Awetu. Nice, so boom. Who put raisins in the potato salad? I mean, yeah. Who made this unseasoned chicken? You know what? The cookout has been canceled until further notice. Because I noticed the smell of gentrification on the grill, marinated in the language that these residents don't always hear, because they try to tenderize their oppression and glaze it with words like revitalization. Because it just tastes better than saying, let's displace them. By using government initiatives where we embezzle funds or rather misplace the figures. It's so shameless and it's all in the language. Alright, so boom. Close your eyes. Trust me. Imagine being captured at the bottom of the station. It's pitch black, so everyone around you is faceless. The weak, raspy, breathing, speaking next to you is a woman from far, far away, so you don't even know what she's saying. But with each word she speaks, in the background, you hear the soundtrack of her heartbeat. Or maybe it's your own. Maybe y'all both in sync. See, even when your bodies are born far, far away from each other, maybe your spirits are still linked, connected even in the midst of insanity. Alright, so boom, even through bombs and calamity, boom, Maafa, boom, Tulsa, boom, Soweto, boom, Angola, boom, IET, boom, Baltimore. No matter what era or what area, maybe we all in sync. Even when our bodies are born far, far away from each other, maybe our spirits are still linked. And in the background of each battle cry, we hear all our heartbeats. So we say, Black Power, Abidi for Hodie, Uhuru na umoja, Aluta continua, Liberté à la mort, Amala, Awetu. Y'all did all right. I show up to see y'all do y'all thing. It's always a great experience, man. All right. So I'm gonna bring up a sister who pours her heart, her soul, her being into community. Who pours everything that she has into community. I'm bringing up a sister who does the work in every way, shape, and form on herself and on others. I'm bringing up a sister, a queen who makes sure that she's straight, so that when she come out here, she knows that what she's giving you is real. What you're receiving is real. It warms my heart to have walked this path with this queen for almost 10 years now. This is wow. Okay. But listen, when we have these people in our midst, we have to make sure that we listen. All right. In our history, We have had so many leaders in our history. We have had so many champions, so many great orators, so many great organizers. And we might look back and hear a Malcolm. We might look back and hear a Kwame, right? We might look back and hear Sankara. And we think about them only as if they are names on pages. But each and every time that you show up to something like this, you are in a front row seat to history. That is where you are. You are in the room with history. So it's my supreme honor to welcome my sister, my comrade, Mama Ngina Fatiu.
Power. Peace. Power. Peace.
Power. That's right. I greet you, family, in the spirit of peace and power today. I just want to take time and take a moment to acknowledge my elders, teachers, righteous leaders, community members. I see some children, and all seen and unseen guests that are showing up in this space today. I say bon du quai. I say thank you. Clap it up for yourself. I stand before you as a woman of the vanguard, a warrior of the Pan-Afrikan liberation movement, where our mission is to struggle for Pan-African unity. To my comrades, those Fatius fighting on the front lines with me, I say one blood. I want to share a little bit about me, just share a little short story for those who are in this space and you've never seen me before. So, a few years ago, the organization that I'm a part of, for those who don't know, who the Black Conscious Lecture Series is hosted by the Pan-Afrikan Liberation Movement. That's the organization that I'm a part of. And a few years ago, we went to Ghana, all the way in West Africa. And we traveled. It was about, I want to say about 14 of us, maybe 14, 16 of us. So imagine this. We are on a bus, right? And it is Africa hot. I mean, it's real hot. And if anybody know that Baba in the back right there, Baba in the hotel, when you get him in a group or a crowd, oh, we gonna have some deep discussions. Am I right, comrades? We gonna be talking. So imagine we on a bus and everybody is leaned into the aisle, and questions are going back and forth, conversations is going. Well, you've been to IT with them, you know how it goes down in the car, right? So one of the questions that was put out there is, who are you? Who am I? So naturally, we heard some people who drop out their professions. You know how we do. Oh, I'm a teacher. You know, even me. I said, oh, I'm a teacher. I'm a mother. I'm a professional. Oh, I'm a leader. I'm a leader of women. I'm a birth worker. I'm a Morgan alum. I'm a Tuskegee alum. I'm a bridger of intergenerational gaps. I'm a community organizer. I went on and on and on and on because, you know, I was trying to find the right adjective. You know, I'm African. I'm Afro-American. I'm black. You see all them adjectives, right? And then what I said was I'm a healer. And Baba said, stay right there. You see, that's what you lead with. That's what you lead with, because all of those things that you named is a healer. You are a healer. A healer is all of those things. That stuck with me. It raised my level of consciousness, my self-awareness, and it centered my spirit. I no longer had to be all of the things. I could just be that one thing, which was a healer. I am a healer, and I stand before you as a healer. And I'm coming to do what healers do. Is that all right?
Yes, that's all right, baby.
When I look at the audience today, I see some students of urban philosophy. I see some students of Black history, African history. I see some folks that's coming into the knowledge and you say, look, I know a little bit about a little bit. This information that I'm sharing may be familiar and unfamiliar. And for many of you, what I speak about today will be a new revelation. It will be a reorientation, a recentering of Black thought and behavior. It is my hopes for all of you that you leave this space with an attitude of Black pride, with an attitude of Black pride, a sense of Black identity, and that you're able to walk out of this room with confidence to function in a world with a collective consciousness. Let me hear y'all say collective consciousness.
Collective consciousness.
That's the goal. Let's get into it. I'm slightly distracted by this mic. Can y'all hear me if I talk like this?
So you're good.
All right. So my subject is raising sanity, the reconstruction of Black consciousness. As a healer, I'm going to go into what we call scientific Pan-Africanism. So I'm going to have some scientific Pan-African terms that I'll use. I'm going to use some medical terms, and I'm going to take a holistic approach as we break down this analysis. In order to raise sanity, we as a people must admit that Black insanity exists. Can we agree?
Yes.
So, according to our literature in urban philosophy, Black insanity is defined as a psychospiritual disruption of personhood that compels Black people to consistently think, speak, and behave in ways that goes against the best interests of themselves, their family, and community. It goes on to say that this results to a very severe case of what Dr. Kobe Cambone describes as cultural misorientation. Let me hear y'all say that, cultural misorientation.
Cultural misorientation.
So what does that do? That creates Black insanity. Black insanity refers to self-debasing, self-hating, and otherwise self-destructive thoughts, speech, and behavior. Don't that sound like a disease?
Yes, all day.
Listen, that sounds worse than COVID-19. They call COVID an epidemic. I called it a plandemic. They had a plan, right? So let's break this thing down, Black insanity. A psychospiritual disruption. So psycho, that's your mental state. That's how you're thinking, right? Spiritual. When we talk about that psycho part, that mental part, your mental, emotional well-being. The spiritual part refers to your beingness, your experience as a human. It goes beyond your physicality. It's your soul. It's your ori. It's your consciousness. It involves your connection with the supreme divinity. So Black insanity is a psycho-spiritual disruption of all of that. When we talk about personhood, personhood is about your self-awareness. It's about your self-knowledge. It's about how you show up in a world, right? How you are connected to your culture, how you're connected to your cultural identity. All of that's being disrupted. That's definitely a serious problem. A psycho-spiritual disruption of personhood that compels Black people to consistently think. So what are we thinking? Have you ever heard somebody say, I can't do this? Have we?
Yes.
All right. I don't know how. I tell my children that I can't is not in your vocabulary. You gotta say, how can I? You see, that's insanity right there. Excuse me, that's sanity right there. Black insanity is saying, I don't know how. It's falling on the sword. It's not being able to have self-help and self-reliance, being able to see that I can do anything I put my mind to. I can be confident. I can move in my power. Speech. The psychospiritual disruption of speech. We hear it all the time. You can walk down the avenue and hear speech, right? That self-debating, that negative talk. We hear it sometimes when you're mad at maybe for those who are co-parenting, you say, just like your dad, you ain't gonna be nothing. That's self-destructive speech. When we talking down to each other, when we calling each other out of our names because we're not using our emotional intelligence to have some self-discipline with our words, so we cursing folks out, we cursing at our children. That's black insanity, y'all. I'm gonna call this disease of black insanity CM24. Our people walking around in these 2024 streets with cultural misorientation. CM24, y'all. So let's get into it. That ain't nothing to mess around with when we really break this thing down. Cultural misorientation as a disease today, we have to understand that in order to walk into our sanity, we gotta know how to get to the cause of this thing. We gotta know the causes and the root cause. So I want y'all to be able to leave this sacred space, this healing space today, with that understanding of reconstructing your consciousness. Every disease or disorder comes with a set of causes. Some of those causes are infectious, environmental, genetic, lifestyle. And you see the symptoms, the mechanisms, you see the impact, right? And then we all know what we asking for in America. They give you some drugs, they give you some treatment. You know, if we're taking a holistic approach, we want the healing. We want to know what's the antidote. What's the antidote to black insanity? What's the antidote to this CM24? Well, we gotta know the causes, right? How does the causes show up? What are the symptoms? This being an infectious disease are internal. It's an internal attack, right? Mama Ife, you wrote a poem called The Virus. I love that poem. That's some Wake Up, Rise Up Sisters. And in this poem, she talks about our people dying on the streets, overdosing on drugs, dying of heart attacks, hypertension. She talks about our men and our children being gunned down in the streets by the hands of other black men and women, of the police, black insanity. But you want to know what I heard in this poem that stuck out to me? That this black insanity being a virus? She said that everything they're telling us that's killing us is only a side effect to the real virus. And the real virus is that cultural misorientation that I'm talking about today. Black insanity is the virus. CM24 is the virus. And it's spreading. It's spreading deep down in the inside of us. It's spreading because it's a hit to our cultural immune system. It's disrupting parts of us. We are life-affirming people. We heal from the inside out. And this thing is not only infectious, but it's genetic. Y'all say, all right, Mama, y'all getting a little deep here. Okay, let's talk about this genetic aspect, right? This thing is genetic because it's causing us to experience on a conscious and an unconscious level a mutated version of ourselves. You see, when something is an issue and it's genetic, it's a mutation going on in the inside of you. So follow me. Many of us have forgotten that our ancestors live inside of us. Do you know that your great-great-grandmother lives inside of you as a black woman? All right? Do you know that our ancestors built the first civilizations known? That our culture is a tool to inspire us to be human. Some of us have lost our humanity in this black insanity. You see, the Spirit says that in order to be human, you must be divine. That's our teachings. All of us are connected. To be connected to family is to be human, to be spirit, to be divine, to be connected like the strand of a DNA. Y'all seen that strand? It moves and it moves and it moves like that. So that means that we take an action, reminding us that we are family. We must understand that in order to make that genetic connection, we got to understand something about time. You see, we as African people move on sacred time. We learned about this in the Laws of Spirit in the book No More. I want y'all to make sure y'all grab that book. I've also heard Mama Ngina Fatiu talk about sacred time. She said African people believe in the oneness of African family through sacred time, which unites the past, the present, and the future. And when we unite the past, the present, and the future, we understand that we're living in the now. That we're living in the realm of the now where all three are connected. We are connected to our mother, our father, our grandparents, and on and on and on, our ancestors. We're connected to the great kings and queens of Africa. But because of this CM24, there's been some disruption of sacred time. Sacred time has been disrupted, so we no longer remember who we are and whose we are. We have a sacred membership into what Asa Hilliard called the global family. The global family is our family. Our family is a family that goes back thousands and thousands of years. We have a history and a culture that goes back thousands and thousands of years. And that history lives within us. So when I talk about this thing being genetic, we got to understand who we are, what's in the inside of us. And then one of the causes could be environmental. Just think about how an environment affects how you show up. Some of us are strong, some of us are victorious. We can't be penetrated, but some of us, our spirit is down sometimes. So let somebody come into a room and you might just go off. When we think about cultural misorientation as an environmental disease or black insanity as an environmental disease, this CM24 I'm talking to y'all about, y'all look around and ask yourselves, have black people been exposed to toxins in their environment, causing conditions that will allow you to be self-debasing, self-destructive, self-hating? We can look at the 80s. Who put the crack on them Baltimore streets? Who placed our people in conditions of redlining, block busting? Who's taking Big Mama's house for a tax sale? Do we not live in food deserts? Do our children go into classrooms that are oversized? Mass incarcerations? When we talk about our environment, we can go 6 blocks and see a liquor store, a chicken box on the corner and a church. They all seem to group together. In the last 5 years in Baltimore City alone, over 20 recreation centers and schools closed down. So what kind of constructive behavior will happen with our children with that type of madness happening? You see, their white reality, which is our black insanity. We gotta take the reins, we gotta take control of that. This environment produces this disease called black insanity. So let's get into why cultural misorientation has become a lifestyle. A lifestyle for many because many have accepted a white reality. Some of y'all are at a crossroads in your life where you're having to choose or move with a double consciousness. You see, you let anybody be a part of your community, a part of your family. Becoming a part of someone else's family, that whole integration, I think integration was the worst thing that happened to black folks. I ain't with integration. That's my perspective, right? Some of y'all, maybe not y'all in here, but some folks be like, oh, that Yaruko over there, that little person over there is cool. They not like the other oppressors over there. You know what? I was taking a walk with my husband, because we take morning walks. Anybody know Baba Tameen? He gonna want you to be active, right? So we taking a morning walk, and Baba shares a story. He was encouraging me, and we were talking through some things, right? So he shared a story about an interview Muhammad Ali gave him. And follow me here, because we're talking about this idea of acceptance and who we accept in our life that can cause disorder or add to this disruption, right? So the question that was asked to Muhammad Ali was about white folks being in his spaces or the oppressor being in his spaces, right? And he said, if there was 10,000 snakes coming at me down this aisle, and you told me that 1,000 of them didn't bite, should I take my, oh, and he said it's a door right here, right? It's a door that could protect him. But 1,000 of them is good. They garden snakes. They ain't gonna bite. He said, do I wait and see if that 1,000 will build a shield to protect me? Or do I protect myself and close the door? Baby, that's that for me. We have to be unapologetically moving in our sanity. Our sanity is black consciousness. We have to be clear who we are. Not everybody can be in our sacred spaces. Not everybody can be at the drum circle. Not everybody can be at your healing ritual. Not everybody can be a part of your business team. You gotta be clear who the enemy is. And you must be clear that you have to protect yourself. Protect your husband, protect your partner, protect your children. They will not build a shield for you.
Come on, man.
We don't need assimilation. We don't need to assimilate someone else's culture to be proud of who we are. We gotta raise our consciousness. You see, this cycle, spiritual disruption runs deep. It runs so deep, I heard my mama, I ain't mean to call her out. I meant to say family member, but it's out there. Who filmed it? Okay. I love my mama. My mama saw my little baby. Her hair growing in. She said, ooh, that baby she bald head. She got that little nappy head. I hope she has some good hair like Jay. I said, ooh, Mom. Don't say that about my child. But you want to know what? That is something inside of her that is ingrained in her. My mama almost 70 years old. And she's still talking about good hair, bad hair. Talk about raising a consciousness. The next time I came to Atlanta, I had Osila's hair out in a big afro, just nappy as nappy can be. You understand? That was something that stuck with me. I went on a no weave fast. And I had like 2 days. I broke the fast. I forgot. But I wanted to. That shook something in me. And I said, let me raise my consciousness. Can I go without all this extra embellishments?
Come on.
Can I do without the subtle hits of insanity? social media and throwing shade on social media. That's black insanity, y'all. That's a disruption of our consciousness. Instead of having, hey sister, I need to talk to you. Can I call you? Can we meet up for lunch? Social emotional intelligence. You know, out there in the corporate world, nonprofit world, they got a whole lot of words for that. But I'm going to call it raising sanity. Being able to have a conversation with that sister. Being able to say, hey, this was an assumption. This was my perception. And y'all walk away with a new perspective because healing is the goal.
Come on now.
That's raising sanity. You know, when we think about this lifestyle thing of black insanity, we eat junk and processed foods daily. That's killing us. And I'm going to speak to my plant-based vegan folks in the room too, because a lot of us are like, oh, I'm vegan, I'm eating meat. We got bougie, but every processed thing known to man is consumed. You're consuming it. That's not good. Let's eat from the earth. When you know better, you do better. That's how we have to raise our sanity. We got to take moments where we discipline ourselves bit by bit. You know, when I was on this journey of becoming a plant-based vegan, Alina's will be 11 this year, so almost 10 years. The first year I would have cheat days, y'all. I would go home to Atlanta and I'd be like, that fried chicken look good. Maybe if I just eat the skin off of it. I would be sick. I'm on the toilet. I had to give it up. I had to make a decision and say, I'm no longer going to do this because it is affecting me. Some of us have generational patterns in our family that we are not making a note of. You might see this person that died of high blood pressure. This person has hypertension. This person is having these health diseases. But instead of saying, oh, that's them over there, that ain't gonna, I'm healthy, I go walk and I go to, no. Correct it. Become aware and begin to say, how can I do better? Whatever I don't know, I'm gonna ask somebody. I'm gonna get the answers. That's raising sanity in your lifestyle. All right, I'm off script. To engage in self-destructive behavior like cursing at your children. Y'all heard things like beating the brakes off your children?
Yeah, we heard that. Yeah.
We done heard beating the brakes off your children now.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, we might not admit that this is still an issue and that issue is very much related back to the breaking of black folks, right? That cowhide belt, oh, I got stories, right? I cannot think of a time where what I experienced as a child, my son has experienced. And I am grateful. I'm grateful that I had enough sense not to take an extension cord and take his clothes off and beat his butt because he did something wrong. See, I know what that feels like because that's black insanity. That's duplicating and assimilating our trauma, the mass disruption that happened to us. You see, we gotta shift. We gotta be able to read some books. We gotta be able to see parents that have been doing things successfully and be humble enough to say, hey, what's working for you? I see you got a teenager, what's working for you?
That's right.
Aline gets some push-ups. The brother got abs like he is the supreme hero, okay? He gets chores. Since he was 3 years old, every year he had a set of expectations. And I thank my husband for that because he implemented the men you gotta be enforcers in the house. So because we didn't necessarily have an African Center school at the moment where we was, Aline had to have a set of expectations for how he was socialized in public school. We wrote it out for him. This is why you're going to school. This is why you're going to this public school. Not to get an education, to study the enemy, to study this social order over here. And then when he got home, he was debriefed, and we had study time again, learning time again. Those set of expectations also included a morning routine, an afternoon routine, and did I tell you that they started at 3 years old and he'll be 11? And every year he gets a set of expectations. When you wake up in the morning, he has a set of expectations. When he comes from school in the morning, it's not too late. Every child in here must have a set of expectations on how they should live their life. That is creating a social order for them. That is raising sanity. We're not code switching at work. We're not code switching for the oppressor. We're not celebrating European holidays, holy days. One of the sisters in the right, God bless her heart, Patah, bless her heart, I should say. She said, "Happy Valentine's Day, Ia." I wrote back, "Oh, sis, I want you to do a paper on that great massacre. And I also want you to get Dr. Barashengo's book." I wanted her to begin to study and then write out what these European holidays are and why we have been conditioned, because we know that cultural misorientation, CM24, is an environmental disease. We've been socialized to believe that these are our holy days, that it's okay to dress up for St. Patrick's Day. It's okay to have hearts and say Happy Valentine's when that was a massacre. Raise the consciousness. So let me stop right there for a second. Do we know anybody that's suffering from this disease called Black insanity?
Yes, I say, no doubt.
We live in a world where we hear and see the causes and we see the symptoms of this disease and disorder. And we want to know, what's the quickest fix? Mama Ngina, get to the antidote. Before I get into the antidote, we first must peel back another layer. We first must understand the root cause of a psycho-spiritual disruption of personhood that will compel you as a Black person to consistently think, speak, and behave in a way that goes against your greatest nature. We gotta understand the root cause. I've shared the infectious nature of Black insanity. I shared the environmental. I shared the lifestyle. Our lifestyle can cause it, and it's all based on a white reality. Because a white reality fundamentally is Black insanity. We've heard some of our scholars say that. You see, Mama Ngina tells us in the book To Be African that all people live within a universal reality. That reality is rooted in our cultural origin. She goes on to tell us that we as African people must know that we are African people. Thereby, Africa is our origin. Let me hear y'all say, Africa is my origin.
Africa is my origin.
Africa is our origin. Africa is continuity of our cultural identity. To be African is to be whole. To be African is to be human. To be African is to be divine. So what happened? That CM24 happened, y'all. What happened? What happened in history was the greatest disruption. The Maafa happened. This is the disaster. Mama Ngina refers to the enslavement of our people and the sustained attempt to dehumanize us as the Maafa. You see, our people were stolen from their homeland, Africa. They took the best of us. They started with our doctors, our lawyers, our teachers, our scientists, our mothers, our healers, all those that contributed to society. We see that today in the separating of our families with the welfare system, the separating of our fathers from the homes, separating of our families, the mothers who abandon their children, the acceptance of not being life-affirming but saying, oh, I'm pro-choice, the accepting that the community doesn't wrap our arms around these teenage mothers, during chattel enslavement, there was the chain gangs, and now we have mass incarceration. Y'all heard about the 13th Amendment, which invokes their right to continue slavery, their right to continue to mass produce in a way that major corporations own prisons to get free labor. That exists right now. The Maafa is right now. It was not an event in history that happened. We are still experiencing these things. The Maafa, they created conditions where they raped, robbed, murdered, killed our people. We've all heard these stories from the past and past time. I'm going to give y'all a story. And this might be a little graphic. I'll be mindful of the children in the room, but I want to paint a picture for you all because sometimes we believe that we're far removed from history. It was 21 years ago. I was traveling and I had a one-way ticket to Baltimore from Tuskegee, Alabama. That's about a 26, 27-hour ride on a Greyhound bus. And it was jam-packed. I mean, every seat was filled. And I was sitting next to this white man that looked like the crypt keeper. I mean, he looked like the Walking Dead. It just grossed me even thinking about it. His clothes was not washed. He was smelly, smelled like urine. His fingernails was thick with dirt underneath them. It made my flesh crawl. So I'm looking, I'm trying to see, at this time, I'm about 20, 21. That was 21 years ago, okay. And I'm looking around like, can somebody switch seats with me? I was scared. I can say that I was scared. I was uncomfortable. Am I going to fall asleep? I got off and I got at the time I was drinking Mountain Dew, so I went and got a Mountain Dew thinking that would keep me up. Because I didn't want to fall asleep next to this man. Something wasn't sitting right in my spirit. It was hot on the bus. It was muggy. And I hear the chattering, and I see the trees going by, and I go into this hypnotic deep sleep in the midst of everything. And as I was sleeping, I felt some pressure in my lower area. And the pressure was harder and harder, and it woke me up out of my sleep. And this nasty saltine had put his hands in a place where they should not belong. You see, that is his white reality, that he thought that he had permission to touch my body. This neck, and listen, y'all seen Alabama, they throw up chairs there. We dealt with him real good. Please believe. But it was that traumatic experience of someone taking advantage of me. That experience of being vulnerable. That experience of what is their white reality. And guess what? Over these last 20 years, I got stories even worse than that. And guess what? 1 out of every 3 women, possibly in this space today, statistics will say that she has been a person who has had to survive some type of sexual assault because of the conditions we live in. Many of us share a social past filled with trauma and triggers. And then we go out and mimic this behavior in our families. We go out and mimic this behavior in our communities. This is an attempt to attack our cultural immune system, our cultural identity. You see, this type of acceptance of this behavior is Black insanity. One of the things that they knew what to do was to create an environment where we would be vulnerable. Asa Hilliard said, the things that glued us together, that's what they disrupted. Our names, our understanding of our supreme divinity. When we say supreme divinity, some of us may think that there is a God outside of ourselves. How many of you know that there's a supreme divinity within you? That is your connection to the divine. I want to raise your sanity today so that you understand that God, the supreme divinity, Ptah, Chukwu, Ama, Olodumare, all of these names do not live outside of you. They took away our stories, our proverbs, our worldview, and anything that bound us together as a people. They attempted to crush, dismantle, and attempted to strip us from who we are. I dare to say that this was a mental assault, systematic, calculated attack that led to the disorientation and the loss of consciousness of many of us. This is what triggered the CM24. This is what triggered Black insanity. The root cause of all the causes. Everything bad about people is rooted in white reality. I might sound extra, but it's true. Everything bad about us is rooted in oppression, in systems of oppression. It doesn't excuse the Black insanity that we experience amongst each other, but we gotta understand it's not my brother. It's not my sister that's doing this. It's how they're operating in the faculty of a white reality. African people, we are social beings. Black people, we are social beings. We have social systems. Our relationships with each other, our solidarity with each other is deeply spiritual. And it was their mission to de-spirit us. It was their mission to deliberately target us. They knew that if we were alone and separated from our people, we will become vulnerable, because together we are invincible. Let me hear y'all say that. Together we are invincible. Together we are invincible. This is why we have to struggle for togetherness. This is why when you are upset and feeling dispirited, some people like to say depressed, down, sad. I'm saying dispirited because that's our way. We got to understand that our natural way is to be spirit-filled, to be abundant, to be happy, to be joyful, to be enthusiastic, to feel good. That is our natural inclination. So anything different from that is an attack, whether it be internal or external. So you don't go off and be alone to yourself. Oh, I just need to be alone. We're going to change the mentality there. I need to be in sisterhood. I need to be anchored in community. Some of us go through traumatic experiences in life and we don't tell nobody. Nobody knows. That time has to stop, Black people. You're going through things in your relationship. You fussing and fighting every day. Your personality is clashing. I want you to understand that you can break that cycle by looking around the room. Mama and Bobby, y'all been married almost 20 years, right? So if I got a problem with my husband, guess who I'm going to talk to? We have to raise our consciousness. We have to be humble enough to know that the strength lies in being able to come into community. Is that all right?
Yes.
All right.
They gave me my time, so I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Raising sanity, the prescription to this disorder, this psycho-spiritual disease, must come with a heavy dose of Black sanity. And Black sanity is Black consciousness. You see, a holistic doctor will say that it requires a lifestyle shift. Y'all heard it. In urban philosophy, we would prescribe a prescription of reorientation, re-Africanization. You gotta re-Africanize your mind. You gotta be around some people that's thinking positive, that's speaking positive. You have to begin to think and behave in alignment with right action. We call that ma'at. Ma'at allows you to move in wholeness. It allows you to think about the power of the group, not just yourself. You gotta be able to say, what I want for myself, I want for my sister. What I want for myself, I want for my brother. Black sanity is black consciousness. The antidote, again, is rooted in the reconstruction of black consciousness. In order to fight this disease, I want you to remember these 3 treatments, okay? Treatment number 1, remembrance. Remembrance is a process. I want you to remember that we lived in societies that honored life. I want you to remember that we worked in partnership with the black man and woman. I want you to remember that we are the creators of astronomy, science, medicine, math, that we are healers. I want you to remember that we created that traffic light outside. I want you to remember that we created the internet. And because you remember this, you know who you are. The second treatment is reclaiming. Reclaiming is a process. Reclaiming black sanity, black consciousness. What does that look like, Mama Ngina? It's having the tenacity of the 1960s, where we had independent African schools, study groups, educational groups, weekend schools. Shout out to our Shule. We got a weekend school. Shout out to Crayons and Culture. Having educational processes and places for our children. We gotta value education. We gotta feed our children things other than roadblocks, sports, and mediocre social systems. They got to see black excellence in everything. We have to be able to be inspired by each other. Mama Ibe, I was inspired when I went to the WDC fundraiser a few weeks back. Those 2 and 3-year-olds knew their name. They knew how to speak in Kiswahili, Spanish, English. Now y'all know Baba Tamim had that whiteboard out with Sister Osila, who's 2. But we were inspired. We didn't say, oh nah, they are anomaly. Oh nah, she extra. Them children don't need to know all of that. Yes, they do. Osila will be a healer like her mama and Baba. We're training her. So if you ask my 2-year-old to show you where her liver is, where her brain is, where her lungs, she will be able to show you, and she's 2. Because we understand the assignment. We understand that we don't have to wait till our child is 5 and 6 to teach them anything. We understand that even at 40, we can go through a rites of passage. That even at 70, we can go through a rites of passage to re-Africanize ourselves. So reclaiming is a part of that treatment process. And the last part is restoring our true identity and rejecting this white reality. We gotta bring back and restore the pride of the 1970s. Black pride. And I'm not just talking about the afros and the leather and the berets. I'm talking about the black experience. What we truly mean by the black experience, we got to restore what it means to be African, our African values. Black pride is confidence. You walk into every room with your head held high. You speak with authority, black man. You speak with power, black woman.
Yes.
You must know that you are black-tastic in everything that you do. That every era, every failing is a failing forward. You can learn from everything that you do. That is reclaiming that black pride. In closing, I want you to take away that this disease of black insanity, it was calculated, it was intentional, it was systematic, so therefore the healing must be intentional, must be calculated, and must be systematic. Our culture is our life system. That's how we want to combat this thing, through culture. We must understand that we are a global family, that each and every one of us are connected in some way. And we must be clear that our identity, our self-knowledge, our awareness, our collective consciousness will happen not only as an individual, but collectively. Together we must accept that we are Pan-African. Yes. Together we must accept that we are human, we are divine, we are spirit. Yes. We must accept and establish collective consciousness. Yes. And then we must manifest it. We must take action in our community. Do not sit there and have the cure deep inside of you and you not move and take action on it. Do not sit there and know that we have a collective consciousness and we don't gather together. We don't come together as a people. Come on. We must hold spaces like this where we can experience each other with unconditional respect. We must be responsible for all children, not just your child. We must give feedback to each other constructively in a meiotic way. And lastly, we must establish Black love. Turn to somebody and say, I love you, Black man. I love you, Black woman. We have heard that the consequences are severe. Come on. So we must be clear that together we are invincible. Y'all say that with me. Together we are invincible. Together we are invincible. And with that I say, Ashe.
Let's see if y'all remember. Amana! So that was one of the rallying cries during apartheid, and still used widely today. Amana meaning power. And so when that is called, they say power, then the crowd joins in to say our way to the people. All right, so essentially, I'm inviting you all to join me in that way. When I say Amana, we say our way to. And what we just witnessed was exactly that. What we just witnessed was Amana Awetu. It was power to the people. What we just witnessed was an explanation of why we see some of the things that we see. Where does it come from? How does it manifest? And how do we fix it? See, that Black insanity that you might see, it has a root. It is rooted in tainted, vile soil. It is rooted in what our oppressors have attempted to bury us in. And as we grow, as we continue to grow, we are able to find our way out of that insanity. So we heard about some of the things of the past, right? You know, the chicken skin and all that stuff, you know, all that insane stuff. People like, eating chicken, that's crazy. That's crazy, that's insanity. Jumbo shrimp, who does that? All right, we ain't gonna talk about those things, all right?
Tell the whole truth.
Tell the whole truth, right? And we know that there's power in educating our children. Itty-bitty children from the womb. In reality, one of the things that Mama Ife says is that you start educating your child in the womb. She talks about how she read our sons and sang our sons, ABCs, 1, 2, 3, all of that. Still in the womb. That's powerful. That is immunization to that CM24. Right? They want y'all to get the little jab and everything. They want y'all to get those vaccines, but the greatest vaccination, the greatest thing that we can do for our immunity against that insanity that we come in contact with is to be rooted firmly in our culture. Mama Ngina says, our culture is our immune system. And we build that, we strengthen that in the midst of community. Because a people become a people by other people.
That's right.
We don't simply become, we can't become who you were and you were sitting in the box. You were just sitting there chilling and then all of a sudden, whoop, I'm Infectious. Nope. No, that's other people. Right? Who I am today is very different than who I was 10 years ago. But I wasn't sitting up in my room. I wasn't doing it. I was out here reading some books and everything. I was getting checked. Oh. We don't like to be checked, right? We don't like accountability. Now, I was getting checked. Like, hey, you might have to fix it.
That's right.
Because I see a little insanity in you.
That part.
I needed some immunization and all of that stuff, right?
Come on.
So that insanity does not persist. So I give thanks. I give thanks for you speaking truth to power. I give thanks to you all for being here to listen to it. I got one more request for you. You want a couple more minutes? Yeah. Can I show the folks on here a little bit? We got questions and whatnot. All right. Come here, please. All right, so we're going to bring Mama Ngina back up and do some Q&A. All right.
All right. Anybody have any questions today? Or any thoughts? Anything you want to share in your heart? We want to take a few moments to do that.
I just want to give thanks for your time, your energy, your commitment, your devotion. I talked to you about surgery. So I'm speaking in my softest voice possible. But I just really want to honor you for sacrificing your time, energy, and your life to expose the realities that we are confronted with on a daily basis, to continue to do the work day in, day out. I've known you for a very long time, and you've been very consistent, and I just see the ladder that you're climbing, and I just really want to take my hat off to you and just pay homage, and definitely like a bow. So good presentation, doing a beautiful job. This is going to be the next stepping stone for them. This right here is a spark that's going to keep igniting.
Ashe, thank you, and thank you for showing up. Y'all heard the sister say she had surgery. She still came out. Thank you so much for those words. Anybody? Yes, please.
So, thank you so much for your presentation. And I was thinking, so I'm an older gentleman, okay? In '68, there's a lot of things going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you alluded to the '60s.
Yes.
Really, actually was a lot of consciousness going on. A lot of aware people. I was a young teenager, so I wasn't out there involved in it. But I'm glad I really experienced that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at this time and I'm like, man, this is really whack. Today's world, just the way our mental energy is.
Mm-hmm.
So I thank you for recognizing and holding up the '60s. Not that I was really deeply, I had a father, so I wasn't really running the streets.
Yes.
Right? But the '60s, people read books.
Mm-hmm.
I used to go to school, and what do we do? Outside of where I was going to school at, instead of going to class, we're out there talking about, and I remember this distinctly, Man, Child, and the Promised Land was really popular during that time.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about stuff, even though we weren't, and we were hooking school, we're not going to school, but we were right outside of the school.
I feel you.
So,
I understand.
Thank you
and
for.
I appreciate you, and I want you to know that even elders in our community, we need that fire. We need you to come back and bring that energy. And we are doing something. You know, we have the Race First rally that's coming up in July. So there is a community here, the Pan-Afrikan Liberation Movement, where we host events like this. We bring families together for the carol. We do things because we recognize that when we study history, we pull out the best. We pull out